officially call this meeting to order. Stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Stacy.
Here.
Commissioner Zoller.
Here.
Commissioner Wagner.
Here.
We can sign the journal and accept a motion to approve the recording of the previous board session from Tuesday, January 28th, for the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve it as well. Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, approved. Thanks. Adjustments to the agenda. I have two things I'll add under old business. Just a reminder about the ODOT safety study kickoff meeting tomorrow, and then an update on the technical advisory committee that both Fred and I sat on. That meeting was yesterday for Seneca Regional Plan. Is that anything you want to add?
Just touch on the EMS meeting yesterday.
Okay. Anything, Fred?
No.
Okay. The safety kickoff meeting is tomorrow at the Educational Service Center. 11 o'clock. So, about, what's that? I think we want to ask for input from various groups. I think this is going to outline the help BLZ define the scope. Am I understanding what the objective of the meeting? Anyone? Right? Regional planning had the technical advisory committee joined with the exec committee for a meeting to kind of update everybody, because a smaller group of these main stakeholders had met and started to devise a plan. And Joe presented as director of regional planning that plan to those two committees yesterday. And just a quick update, Frank was talking, it's a very, very good plan, very detailed, kind of looks at overall, as we started this process several months back, maybe close to a year ago, but what was going on with GIS in the county and what the concern was going forward and the areas where we were behind in and the need for making it more efficient and effective operating system for all the stakeholders who use it. I wanted to mention two main reasons. One is, as I was looking at this, sometime last year we approved a half-time position under Mark, and also Julie was going to do something along those lines to get things caught up, because so that was a key part of what was really area behind was what the layer the auditor uses and is responsible has been responsible for update. So now they're looking at it being a full-time position, because Mark says I didn't go into detail on it, but in that plan, because he said just finding a part-time person with that level of expertise is not an easy task. So I'm assuming he didn't have much luck with that. So that's in there, and I think, Fred, correct me if I'm wrong, the motion we ended up having yesterday was then to have her go forward, and like I said, I didn't bring the plan, but there's a nice diagram that shows the system and the stakeholders. And they've got like the county about 45% of the need, because we have lots of departments under us. And then regional planning had a percentage of that, auditor's office, etc. And looking at that is to go back to those stakeholders to see if there was need for additional more monies to make that happen. I don't know that my calculations are correct, but I kind of punched through the calculator yesterday afternoon, and I think in addition, with it going to a full-time position, we probably weren't quite at half, because obviously without benefits at a half-time position. And so Tanya, and what he's got in that, and maybe it's on a high side, or they got in that plan. But that would also mean, if everybody else agreed, we have to be there to do our part. So, because if that was at 45%, and again, at a low, we already were at 50%, but we aren't, because I think the salary, unless again, it's probably a high range, is a little higher, and then the whole benefit factor that comes into that. So if we're accountable for 45%, if they'd like us to see that from the commissioners, we'll look at that and then $8,000 additional from what I think we put in the budget. So I'm not sure exactly how that. But I just a heads up on the plan is out there if you want to take a look at it.
The thing that I was the most encouraged about it, when we were talking about the GIS in the past, it was very fragmented, and there was numerous departments that we're gonna hire individuals to run it. And I think based on the system that was proposed yesterday, it will be, we'll get the most bang for the buck for the county's dollar. The long and short of it is they're all gonna contribute financially towards the program, but we'll be able to hire one person that can do it versus each department having hiring someone and just adding more payroll to the county. It'll be done under one individual. So I think it's the best way to utilize taxpayers' money and get the most bang for the buck based on the system that they've had. It's a comprehensive program that everyone is gonna, I say everyone, the auditor, the engineer, soil and water, health department will contribute a portion of the cost. With the commissioners picking up, as Commissioner Stacy said, 45% of the cost, but everyone's gonna contribute to it, but we're not gonna have redundancy that each department's gonna hire their own person. That's gonna just add to the payroll. So I'm pretty excited about it. We just they have to move forward with the plan. And my understanding, the motion yesterday would then bring it to the full board for approval, and then if the full board approves it, then they would start the implementation process. But the big thing is we now have buy-in from all the departments, and it would be one system that would be shared by all, but would be run by one.
So, yeah, it's exciting because it's very comprehensive and encompasses the whole thing because it's been a struggle for lots of different departments for various reasons. And I think we saw an example of that, especially you two, with Wolf Creek. Because the parcel layers, it's a continual nonstop updating process. And, different hands of different things with it. But I think that's one example where, you're gonna have any kind of mailings of those sizes, you're gonna have errors and you're gonna have things that have changed and you miss and you update them, you will correct them if they get brought to our attention. But, one real recent example of why we gotta get that.
But you are correct, though, based on what we set aside last year for a part-time position, we may have to ante up another $8,000 to be able to do this thing fully and so forth. Yeah, I would agree with
Because
that.
the first one thinking, well, we're halfway, and look at Myers, but no, you get benefits, things change a little bit, but I think it'll work well.
But it is being supported by contribution from all the other departments too, so it's not.
Yeah, and that's what she's gonna investigate, now that, this group kind of blessed her move forward and make sure, she finds out she's got that buy-in, including Fostoria and City of Tiffin. And as Mark said, we wanna make sure that we can make things seamless for Fostoria. They've got to deal with 3 counties, but, if we can help things, Mark did more than offer to say, if I can help things that would be a little more we need to do just to make it like a little easier, for him, because he was there.
Yeah, and I guess I forgot about that. That was another enlightening thing. You had the city engineer there, you had Fostoria city engineer, you had the Tiffin city engineer there, you had the county engineer there. I mean, it was a very, very well-run meeting, and I think that the residents of Seneca County will benefit from the whole thing.
Absolutely. And Tia
Pardon?
was there, yeah, and
Tia
Tia was
was
there.
there too.
I remember her email.
Was it?
When you talked about it.
Yeah, she was there. All right, that's it on that. EMS, give us an update.
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know briefly, Members Adams Township SJ Ken Makers and I had a really good meeting. I felt it went better than we expected it to. They seem to follow a pattern, we've only got a few so far, Adams and Pleasant. But Ken lays out where we've been, where we need, the changes need to happen. They always have a series of questions, and I think some of their assumptions are different than ours going into it. And there's not a question that Ken can't answer in sort of his matter-of-fact way. He knows what every county around us is doing, and just a real good job. Then when everybody sort of realizes the problem, everybody wants to seek a solution. So the way we left it with Adams Township was after the meeting with Green Springs next week, they would like us, Adams would like us to try and set up a meeting with all 3 entities, which we would attend obviously as well. Try and get all 3 entities together. What can we do here to make this happen? Again, we're pushing that basket model, but the major one was something different. Now, we have to buy it from Green Springs yet, that meeting is next Monday evening, and I think you're attending that, so. Hopefully after that, we can set up a meeting with Adams Pleasant and Green Springs and look for a long-term solution for that area. And Kansas City's starting to line up meetings now, or I guess our office is lining up meetings now with the next area of the county, so we're gonna work our way around.
It's very encouraging. Great. All right, there's no further old business. We'll move into new business.
I have a supplement to the current appropriations for the dog and kennel fund of 35, putting $500 into her HSA account. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations for the juvenile programs and services fund, 176, putting $1,000 into equipment. And I have a resolution setting time, date, and place to receive sealed bids for the Malloy property for the HSTS program. It will be set Tuesday, February 18th, 10 a.m. at the Seneca County Commissioner's Office. And that's all the resolutions I have.
We approve the resolutions.
Second.
Questions? I have one. A little more on this last one.
We, that's a HSTS program, the home sewage treatment
Oh, okay.
stuff.
All of a sudden, that's that acronym, I'm not.
She's starting to bid out for the last thing we did was for the soil eval, and then she's gonna start bidding out for the actual properties now to get their systems put in place.
Cindy.
Mhm.
As soon as I saw her name in it,
Trailer park out to, by Seneca Hills.
I'm not too sure where it's at. I could look in the file when we get back and see if there's any information, or I can always call Cindy and ask her. Can shoot her an email.
That's all I have. Anybody else have any questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Wagner,
Yes.
Commissioner Zoller,
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy.
Yes. Okay, thank you. All right, the general public and or the friends of media. You weren't supposed to close up on the door when you came in.
That's because
You can say something to get in the paper tomorrow.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah.
The important people showed up, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we missed you.
What's your view?
He was so full.
Yeah, it was so cool.
I'm blaming the weather.
Absolutely.
Well, then, I guess we're down, we'll have to, no further business. Motion to adjourn.
Just want to mention,
Oh, sorry, yeah, that's okay.
Oh, yeah, okay, old business, yeah, I wanna.
This would be for him, but that's okay, let's take you first, on to you.
Budget Commission, 9 o'clock on Monday, I think that's a reorganization, that's why it's on Monday instead of Tuesday. So Monday at 9 o'clock is Budget Commission. Tuesday, I have Earl scheduled to come in, you were asking for an update on the control, so he's coming in at 10:30. And Dennis Gaeta had called and wanted on the agenda for the work session regarding the credit cards. I had asked Tanya, because I know Fred had Tanya send out an email, and all of the departments that need them, use them, have a system.
We currently have.
Yes, so Tanya wasn't getting feedback from anyone who doesn't have it. So we can still have him come in, maybe there'll be an interest after he comes in. Just wanted you, still wanted to come in, that was kind of scheduled
For this coming Tuesday.
for this coming Tuesday at 9:30.
Then you want to.
My feeling that we sent the inquiry out to the department heads, and if they already have it, and they don't, or the ones that don't have it, haven't really responded back, then apparently there's not a need. So we'll level alone. Why go down that path? I mean, the reason I brought it up is it was brought up to me by one of the department heads.
Okay.
And I said, we would investigate it if there's enough interest.
Yeah.
And so if there's not enough interest, why go further?
And I can call that department head, maybe they could work on something individually with this gentleman.
Yeah.
I asked Tanya before we come out here, and she said that there was not many responses. She gave them the deadline and didn't get the responses we were hoping for, so.
I can't see beating the horse to death.
No.
If they don't want it,
No.
then you take them to the water, but you can't make them drink.
So you can thank him and tell him if you hear back from anybody, we'll pass his name on to them directly or however.
Okay.
But we appreciate it, but, yeah, and I think when he called me, a few weeks back, I said, we're gonna explore, because I don't wanna waste your time. If we don't have enough people interested, and or that what changes or they don't have investment already, that they will keep reading about being out of.
Right.
I said, so he kind of wouldn't have known that.
And he called yesterday and kind of reminded me that it wasn't on the calendar, so.
Yeah.
I told him I'd get back with him.
All right, Fred.
What'd I do?
You did the mountain old business.
Oh, no, okay.
It's not your turn.
Yeah. I would just, want to make it known that, Sunday, there's Eagle Scout Awards. They're going to be given out to Troop 444 at St. Joe's Cafeteria at 10:30 after the 9:30 mass. It'll be Travis Gase, Nicholas Cummings, and Blake Bohr Miller will be receiving their Eagle Award. And I will be happy to extend that.
That's it, those are fun. Usually on Sunday, I'm like a church.
We go to 9:30 mass anyway, so it's easy.
Yeah, it's easy.
I think there's one more that's attending that for Troop 444, but I can't remember what his name is because his letter came in like 2 weeks later. So I'll have to look up that name.
Proclamations to all these, or
Well, we did letters for all of them. I think we only did the proclamation for Travis and then the kid in Fostoria that did the Fostoria firehouse.
what's his name? That was the young man that did the Levi Calloway. So, it's good.
Okay.
That's it.
And, after your turn, you have a motion, right? Do you have a motion?
Yes. We do not.
We'll adjourn for lack of business, and we'll start the hearing at 10.